Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into something that makes almost everyone sweat, and that is the fundraising ask. We're going to break down exactly how you can blend emotional storytelling with tactical digital strategy to completely transform how you raise money or gather support. So if you've ever struggled to get people to take action, you are absolutely in the right place. Let's get into it.
So why is making the ask so incredibly hard? I mean, we all know that universal feeling of dread when it comes to asking for money, donations, or even votes. It feels uncomfortable, it feels kind of salesy, and let's be honest, we're absolutely terrified of rejection. But the truth is, if asking feels awful, it usually means we're approaching it from the exact wrong direction. We really need a major paradigm shift in how we think about the whole process.
The folks at the Nonprofit Storytelling Conference hit the nail on the head. They said, you were taught to ask. You were never taught how to make someone want to say yes. And that is huge. The ultimate goal here isn't about perfectly phrasing a polite demand for cash. No, it's about creating a genuine internal desire within your audience where they actually want to give.
Okay, so here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, the art of the ask. Second, scripting the perfect pitch. Third, driving digital engagement. And finally, we'll look at campaign strategy in action.
All right, Section 1. The art of the ask, moving from transaction to connection.
According to the Nonprofit Storytelling Conference, giving happens when emotion, logic, and urgency collide to create what they call a meaningful moment. So what is that? It's basically that exact emotional shift from someone thinking, yeah, I should care about this, to actually feeling, wow, I do care about this. It's that precise second where a donor's heart rate actually changes and they pause and emotionally lean into what you're saying.
Think about the old way of fundraising. It's entirely focused on what the organization needs. It's informative, it's polite, but it doesn't really move people, does it? But the yes formula flips the script entirely. It focuses on what the donor feels. By building that emotional moment, you turn giving into a joyful, identity-affirming experience for them. It literally makes the yes feel inevitable before you even actually make the ask.
Moving right along to Section 2, scripting the perfect pitch, the 5-part blueprint.
Fundraising coach Joanne Toller says it perfectly. Funders don't just read your words, they need to feel your story. So the big takeaway here is that you absolutely do not need a film degree or fancy equipment to pull this off. DIY video production using simple tools like Canva, CapCut, or honestly even a recorded Zoom call is totally fine. What actually matters is that the story itself is authentic, personal, and full of heart. Because real beats perfect every single time.
Let's break down Joanne Toller's 5-step video blueprint. Step 1 is the hook. You have literally 5 seconds to grab attention, so don't start with your organization's name, start with something bold. Step 2 is the problem. Connect on a human level. Step 3 is the solution. Show them exactly how you make life better. Step 4 is urgency. Why does this matter today? And finally, Step 5, the ask. Be confident and be specific.
Let's look at this formula in action with a veteran support campaign. Bad scripting relies on vague jargon, like mental health is important. I mean, it's true, but it's pretty boring, right? Good scripting, on the other hand, uses specific, plain language, saying the system is overloaded, the support is inconsistent, and the spiritual toll is real is honest, it's human, and it packs a punch. It strips away all the fluff and just delivers the truth.
And when you finally get to Step 5, the ask, you have to make it real. Take the number $520, for example. In Toller's approach, they don't just ask for generic support. They explain that $65 covers one telehealth chaplaincy session for a veteran. Therefore, a specific gift of $520 will cover exactly 8 counseling sessions for one individual. Linking a specific dollar amount to a tangible outcome like that makes the final ask feel incredibly meaningful.
Which brings us to Section 3, driving digital engagement, from story to action.
Getting people to actually interact online takes a solid call to action, or a CTA. Here are a few rapid-fire engagement examples sourced from the social media planning tool Plan. Raise your hand if you're feeling this. Tag your biz bestie. Describe your day in 3 emojis, or simply caption this. These are diverse, super low-friction ways to spark audience interaction. The golden rule here is, if you don't ask your audience to engage, you usually won't get that engagement.
But honestly, a couple of good CTAs won't cut it alone. You really need a system. Think about a 30-day social media calendar. Notice the variety you need to bake in. Day 3 might be an engagement poll on Instagram stories.
Day 8 could be an educational common mistakes post on LinkedIn. Day 15 is a client shout-out on Facebook. The point is, a great story needs a sustained, varied, and multi-platform digital strategy to survive and actually thrive online.
Now for Section 4, Campaign Strategy in Action, the Art of Elysium.
Let's look at a real-world example with the Art of Elysium. They were founded back in 1997 to provide arts programs for hospitalized children. By 2008, they had launched their massive annual Heaven fundraising gala, and remarkably, by 2016, they co-launched Elysium Bandini Studios, which is a streaming network established specifically to help financially support the charity. It is a brilliant example of how a nonprofit builds massive, long-term momentum through diverse and really creative fundraising.
Now, one really interesting digital fundraising mechanic organizations use to receive grant money is through colossal competitions, like the People's Artist. This is structured as a competition with a voting format, so every $1 donated by the public equals 1 vote cast for a competing artist, and those funds ultimately benefit the designated nonprofit.
And this is where it all clicks together. Take this realization from a contestant named Brandon, who used a strategy program called Voting Academy. He said, "While free votes are great, the donor relationships with your network is what sets you apart." This ties our tactical digital strategy directly back to that emotional relationship building we discussed way back in Section 1. It really does all connect.
Because these competitions are so fierce, the successful competitors completely abandon that panicked asking. Instead, they lean into advanced tactics. They choose intentional timing over just spamming their link every single day. They prepare for those 2x voting windows way ahead of time. They actively manage supporter fatigue, and they strategically build momentum heading into the finals. Basically, they stop reacting under pressure and start strategically managing their campaigns.
And that brings us to the absolute core of this entire explainer. Whether you're writing a script for a $500 donation, posting a quick poll on Instagram, or competing in a massive digital fundraiser, I want to leave you with this provocative question to challenge your approach. Are you just asking, or are you creating a moment? Because when you master crafting moments that truly move people, you don't just raise money, you change lives. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I absolutely cannot wait to see how you apply these frameworks.